Yo, yo, yo. We are here. We are back. What is up, y'all? Yet again, walking and talking. It's been a week, right? Oh, yeah, yeah. Might be a little less actually by the time this one goes up. We'll see. But I am walking. I'm outside this time. See, we got nature. Got a bit of scenery changing on this one. Uh, oh, yeah, we outside, we walking, we talking. And today, it's kind of, I'm going to do the video that kind of wanted me to start this whole thing. Might be a little clickbaity on the thumbnail. Probably the title too, but it is the truth. So this one is pretty much, if you, for the time of this video releasing, I recently made a post about my progress and stuff, but and of course there's always people asking how, so pretty much going to talk about how Monster Hunter got me shredded, because that's pretty much how my brain processes all of it. I mean, it's not a past tense. Hopefully this little, I think you call it a cattail, hopefully it's cutting through some of that wind. But yeah, pretty much, let me switch hands, talking about how Monster Hunter got me shredded. I just kind of applied that game to, I don't know if it's kind of the main, if there's a quote or whatever, the main pillars of, you know, fitness or bodybuilding or whatever, but kind of the four main pillars for me. Let me see if I can put them in a particular order. They're all just as important. They're all equally as important, honestly. So not really in order, but I guess kind of the order I wrote down is I guess, yeah, you know what? I guess it kind of in that order would say the order could be shuffled around, but pretty much your diet, the four main things: your diet, I'd say, your cardio activity, movement, um, your strength training, and your sleep. Those are kind of the four main things. You get those four things locked in, and yeah, it's a wrap. It's easy. You could look and do pretty much whatever you want. Those are the four main things. And again, the way I look at Monster Hunter, all four of those main things are how they apply for, your body and stuff like that. And they pretty much all apply to me. Well, in my mind, maybe this is just my weirdo mind of how I look at stuff. But what was the first one I said? Your your diet. Ah, shit, I don't remember if I said diet or cardio activity. But either way, diet is pretty much like, that's like the armor set building. That's like making your gear. That's pretty much that equivalent in my head. Your cardio, that's gathering. You got to do it. You got to do it. Whether it's farming or going out gathering, either way, you got to get the materials. And then strength training, that's the fun part, right? That's the hunting. That's where, you try to get better with your technique every time, your form, your, not necessarily speed running, but, performance in that sense. And your sleep, that's saving the game. A lot of people don't think about that part of the game, right? It's kind of why it's I think that's probably the best comparison is those two, because you don't even think about saving the game, but it's pretty important. If you know me, back up your saves. You know, I have said that many a time. So back up your saves, and that's sleep. If you're not getting good sleep, you're cutting so much progress out, just gone. You know, so that's kind of the high level of you know of those four main things and how I just oh, I really hope this is cutting out the air, the wind. Really how I adapted those four things and stuck with consistency to get to where I am now. That's just how I looked at it. So I mean, I guess you're kind of starting the progress of when you play the game, right? What's the very first thing you do? You pick a weapon, right? You pick your gear. I mean, you're not really making much gear at the very beginning of Monster Hunter, but you do pick a weapon, and that's gear, and that's diet, right? Like you get to you get to pick what you want and how you want to play. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you kind of get to do with your diet. You know, you want to focus on losing weight, gaining weight, or maintaining, cutting, bulking, all that kind of stuff. You know, like for me, every day I pretty much am building an armor set. And what that means is like every day I'm looking at the food I'm going to eat. I track my food every day, my Fitness Pal, and every food has a value, you know? Everything you eat has some type of value, whether it's a carb, a fat, a protein. Obviously, most things are a mix of the three in some way. If you're just looking at your simple macros across the street, looking at your simple macros, you know. So take, you know, chicken breast for example, and kind of spitballing here. I don't know it off the top of my head all the macros exactly. It's again, it's like Monster. I don't know exactly what the Rathalos armor set has on it, but I know it usually has attack. Chicken breast. I don't remember exactly how much calories per grams it is, but chicken breast is going to give you a lot of protein. It's a very lean protein source, right? Chicken breast, shrimp, um, lean beef, you know, some salmon. The salmons usually also have some fat in them, but you know, those lean proteins, turkey, another one. So when I'm building my set for the day, you know, choosing what food I'm going to eat for the day, it's like, okay, well, number one goal for me is always going to be my protein goal. I always want to make sure I hit that every day, right? That's that's pretty much requirement for me when building my sets. You know, that's like weakness exploit. I gotta get weakness exploit. Don't matter what the set is, weakness exploit's gotta be in there. You know, and that's the protein for me. Weakness exploit. It's gotta be there every time. Requirement. Now, if your goal is to just, you know, lose weight, then your main thing is just making sure you're in a calorie deficit. Nah, that's a fancy word for just saying you eat less than what your body needs to stay at its current weight. That's all that really means. You eat less. And then, you know, protein might not be as important. I always think it's important no matter what your goals are. I think protein is probably the most important macro just because it's very easy to get the other two, carbohydrates and fats. But, you know, that's one portion of it. So, you know, say I'm making a meal, my lunch, what I had for actually, you know, talk about my dinner today. Maybe I'll remember to put a picture of it here. But I kind of freestyled a little kind of Taco Bell Mexican pizza type thing with chicken. There's my protein. And I use fat free cheese, so more protein. And then a bunch of veggies, basically broccoli, bell pepper. What else I put in that? Mushrooms. And those things are mostly carbs, but they're, they're good. Good. It's not really, I don't really want to say good or bad carbs, right? It's all good or bad is all whatever your goals are. So they're more so lower calorie. That's really the thing. They're higher volume and lower calorie, right? I might have to do 4 parts of this video. I might have to do one for each pillar. I know this is kind of going on the food thing again, so I'll try to wrap this up so it's not so long. But this might be a long video if I'm gonna talk about all 4, which I'd like to do. But I made that little Mexican pizza thing. I had 2 kind of lower carb tortilla wraps, and I just laid them flat, put it in the air fryer, put the other stuff on top of it, and it was chicken and veggies and cheese, and I added some hot sauce and salsa. Again, like I was saying in the last video, learning what foods are, right, like what's in what foods and stuff. Like, stuff doesn't have to be super crazy expensive. The chicken I've been going through this week, $5 rotisserie from Sam's Club. This big ass thing of chicken for a whole week. I barely made a dent and I had this big ass pizza. I'm walking it off right now. So, that using, the lower carb tortilla and the veggies and that chicken, the stats, right? Like, what's the stats on that armor? What were the skill points on it, right? Like, that thing had 70 grams of protein, or no, like basically 80 grams of protein. It was like 77 or something. And then, like I said, that's the main thing for me. If I go over on carbs or fats, I'm not really too worried, but they were all right. I don't even remember. It was maybe like 12 grams of fat and like 30 or 40 grams of carbs or something. But like I said, the main thing for me is I want to make sure I hit my protein every day. So my goal, I think, is like 170 a day. It's kind of what my goal is. So with that meal was also only about 550 calories, right? 550 calories, 80 grams of protein. That's like half of my protein for the day already in one meal, right? So that's like building the set, So I got my weakness exploit. Basically, it's like I got 2 points of weakness exploit out of 3 right there in one meal. So it's like, all right, well, how am I gonna get the rest of that protein? I could have a bag of protein chips in my in my lunch, or I could have some more chicken, in my lunch as well, or make a creamy protein ice cream for dessert. And for today, I had some Greek yogurt and some protein powder for breakfast. I kind of hit my goal in 2 meals, right? I hit that weakness exploit in 2 meals, pretty much. So then my lunch, which was also loaded, it was like a breakfast, like a frittata thing with egg and chicken sausage. So I got like 230 grams of protein today. My goal is 170. I'm like that guy that has fucking 6 points of weakness exploit. Like, dude, you don't need all that. Like, you only need 3. But whatever. I'm still hitting my 3. Like, it doesn't hurt. And that's just kind of like one aspect of how I look at it. But, different foods have, different values and stuff like that. So, oh, hold on a second. I'm walking past. I don't want to interrupt. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. And every food is different value. When I had that breakfast, that was Greek yogurt. I had protein in it, but I also added strawberries so I can get some carbs. And all three of the macros are important, right? I tend to focus on protein because it's kind of the generally harder one to get, but they're all important. Protein helps you build and retain muscle. Carbohydrates is energy, so you need that for energy. And fats help you with like your hormones and stuff like that to keep those things in check. Uh, just your body functioning well. Keeps your body kind of like well oiled, for lack of a better term. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess that was kind of a high level of the food. Putting together and it's you can kind of extrapolate that to that was just like one meal, so you stretch that to the whole day, and then you take that to the whole week, month, year, so on and so forth. So you just stay consistent in those things, and other things can fit in there. Like I'll get Chick-fil-A, once a week sometimes. But again, it's just choosing the stuff that'll fit. Chick-fil-A is super easy for me to get a meal that's gonna help me get protein and not like a ton of other things that will put me over my calories, Like, oh, this is kind of shady. Across me. Oh, oh, Jesus. Um, right, so like I'll get Chick-fil-A and I just won't get a bun. I'll get it lettuce wrapped. The bun is a ton of calories, mostly carbs, um, which won't help me with what my goal is to stay under a calorie limit. Like that calorie limit, as far as kind of a equivalent to Monster Hunter, it's like you can only have so many skills, right? And I guess this is probably more of a comparison to World than Rise. Rise, you get fucking 8 million skills and fucking 30 billion combo skills and charms and 7 more skills on it. So I guess it's more like a World. It's so windy. It's probably not even picking this up. I'm gonna really. It's windy as hell. There's no way it's picking me up through all this wind. Oh, Jesus. All right, well, hopefully y'all can hear me, because I don't know. I wish there was a monitor on this. I could probably be using a better camera than just the stock camera. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the food, right? So, different foods have different values, and you kind of find, what equals what you're trying to hit. Like like I was saying, meat and sex club. That's kind of how I look at protein. You just always know. But there's times where you can make other things work. Say chicken. Like I said, is super easy, ton of protein. There's other protein sources. Like I said, shrimp. There's things that are combos, right? Like peanuts. Like they don't have a ton of protein, but they do still have some, and then they also have fats too. And like I said, all three of the macros are important, so you wanna try to get all of them, but you want to stay within that calorie goal. So it's just learning what foods are what. So I mean that's one pillar, right? So fucking 20 minutes in already on that. This might be an hour. Fuck. So what's next? You got your armor. You gotta gather, right? You're gonna need to gather at least your first honey, your first herb, your first well, I guess not anymore, not whetstones, but your iron ore, your dragonite ore. Like you gotta gather all that stuff, and you gotta always get it. You do get a farm at some point, but you gotta gather before the farm kicks in. And I kind of equate that to cardio, And I say cardio because it could be any form, right? It doesn't have to be high intensity doing sprints and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be walking, which is what I like to do. It could be biking. It could be, just playing some basketball, jogging if you like that. Stairmaster, just any form, right? You got to gather something. Whether you got to gather your herbs or ores, seeds, all that stuff, and you got to do it the whole way through. We all know that person who's trying to fucking build a set and they've never gathered a fucking gloam grass bud or whatever. Now they you don't really need those for sets, but they're trying to, make fucking life powders or dust of life, and they've never gathered a fucking gloam grass bud, and now they're sorry, it can't heal you. It's like, all right, man, we're HR 700. How do you not have any of these? So it's just as important. It's something you got to do all the time. And I mean, I say cardio, but really just moving, moving more. When you're in the middle of a hunt, you gather some shit on the way. You hit that mining node. That's gathering. When you go to the grocery store, you park a little bit further away, get more steps in. So for me, my cardio is like I want to make sure I hit my 10,000 steps a day. It's just an arbitrary number, but it's just a number I like to do. So that kind of helps with that movement, and that stuff is going to help you. I mean, again, if you're looking for a calorie deficit, but I think it's just something you should do no matter what your goals are, whether it's to maintain, cut, bulk, having some consistent cardio in your day to day or week by week, however you want to break it up, I think is very important. Oh, this sun is, I look like an unlocked or a locked character right now, probably. Um, I think it's always going to be important. And that's why I take these walks like this. I have at least one heavy cardio. Heavy. This isn't heavy for me. I enjoy this, but let me get out the way. I'm in the parking lot now, walking to Aldi to pick up some stuff and get some burgers tomorrow. Um, but yeah, it's pretty simple of a analogy for me. Is cardio is just gathering. It doesn't really need to be that deep. You just got to do it. Whatever way works best for you, whether it's your farm, whether it's going out on an expedition, whether it's getting it in the middle of a hunt, getting that cardio in, whether that's, like I said, doing it when you go out, you go somewhere, trying to get some extra steps in, or you do it after a workout, or you do it like me. I just like to take walks. Doesn't matter. You just got to get it done. Uh, yeah, I'm right at Aldi now. I don't want to record inside, so I'm gonna go shopping. I'll be back out to talk about the rest of it. All right, I'm back. I didn't have any pickles in there, so I gotta walk over to the Giant, get some pickles. Can't have burgers without pickles. Come on now. It's all right. It's gonna be more time to talk to y'all. So what was I talking about? I was talking about cardio, gathering, right? Yeah, pretty much gathering, right? It's required. You got to do it. You know, some people don't think it's the most exciting thing. I, for one, damn, I'm fucking this grass up. I do enjoy it, but much like Monster Hunter, again, any of y'all watch my stream, I stay gathering all the time. I'm never out of resources. So getting cardio in, like I'll there's where I work. There's kind of like a little gym there. I'll leave work a little bit early, go hit that gym, hit the treadmill for 30 minutes, and then walk home. And it's fun. Like I know it's good for me, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it. So much like gathering, you know, I enjoy doing cardio, even though it's often looked at as the oh god cardio. It's like you got to do it. Find a way to enjoy it. Um, so yeah, I mean that's cardio. That's two, right? So we did gear, which is your diet, your gathering, your cardio. The next one is that's the hunter, right? That's the hunting part. That's the fun part, that's training. That's your strength training. And I'm no fitness trainer and none of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But that's the fun part. That's the part that most people who want to get into fitness and especially bodybuilding or whatever, that's the part that you really don't have to push somebody to do. Like they want to go to the gym, or if that's what your goal is, you want to work out and get stronger and all that stuff. But just like in Monster Hunter, there's technique. You don't want to. Oh, hold on, let me cross here. You want to get better at what you're doing. When you go to fight, first you again, you want to learn how to do it. It's going to be hard, just like a Monster Hunter. First time you hunt something, if you've never done it before, it's going to be hard. You're going to fuck up and not do the greatest. It's not going to be the most efficient, but you keep doing it, you're going to get better at it. It's honestly kind of crazy, and maybe I sound crazy. Somebody else could tell me I sound crazy, but the 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 comparisons between the two is like it's crazy how so many of them are just like 1-to-1 for me, at least in how I look at it. Because it's the same thing. You start working out, start weight training for the first time ever. You're not going to be doing great, but that doesn't matter. You just keep doing it and you get better at it. And eventually, exactly, right? You know exactly how to do a proper bench, how to do a proper bench rep. You know exactly that when Rathalos roars, when he gets enraged, he's going to throw a fireball. You know that. You learn that from repetition. And there's, reacting to that. Knowing that, oh, I'm doing this rep right because I can feel it in my chest where I'm supposed to feel it, as opposed to feeling it mostly in my biceps or my shoulders or whatever. Again, for the comparison, he's going to roar when he takes this much damage, which is enrage, and then he's going to do a fireball, so you can roll through the roar, punish that with a flash bomb, knock him out the air, free damage. You know what I'm saying? That's all just, you learn all that stuff from repetition and getting better, but actively trying to get better, right? There's so many people, which is totally fine if that's their goal, who just go in, get hit by every roar, hit the monster, and then they just keep doing it until they're dead. And that's fine, right? There's a ton of people who go to the gym, put some weight on the bench, push it a couple times, and then they're done, right? And again, if that aligns with what you want to do, then that's totally fine. But if you want to be the best version that you can, that's kind of where you'll watch a YouTube speedrunner or streamer or something to see, like, oh man, how do they fight this monster that well? It's the same thing. I watch fitness videos all the fucking time of people who are in way better shape than me showing how to do things the right way. The proper way to do a bench, the proper way to curl without hurting yourself, or do shoulder press without hurting yourself, how to put yourself under, time under tension so you're maximizing your muscle growth, those kind of things. So it's like, and if you want to get better at something, you find the hunts you really like, you find the exercises you really like. Like for me, I really enjoy doing shoulder exercises and back exercises. It's the same thing. I love fighting Volcana. Now I love fighting Odo. Love fighting Nerd. Those are monsters. You look at them just as a muscle group exercise. I get really good at those. I'm adequate, but I'm not very good at chest exercises. Like my chest is not my strongest muscle group. Look at it as that's fucking Zinogre, man. I can get it done. I could do it probably efficiently, but it's definitely not my best. But it's always something to work on, you know. And you just want to, again, there's those hunters who could hunt every single monster in the roster like a fucking legend, and that's that's when you see the Mr. Olympias, right? People who have mastered every single fiber of their muscles in the most efficient way possible. It's the same kind of thing. And there's just so many ways to get to those paths, right? Like you want to use X weapon, X gear. Again, going back to the gear, that's your food. It's just, you go into a hunt with no gear, it's going to take longer. It's going to be harder than if you have some gear on. Going to work out with bad nutrition or no nutrition is going to be harder than if your nutrition's on point. They just help each other. Getting that, the carb for your energy and protein to help your muscles build and fats to keep your body kind of running the right way. All those things help each other. Same thing with cardio, right? Your cardio helps you, you're gathering, you're getting your gloam grass buds, your honey, your herbs. You can help support those workouts. So you get to work out to muscle fatigue instead of um, cardio fatigue, right? Cross. You wanna work out so that you're working your muscle fibers and getting them as tired as they can be. Not you're so winded you can't do anything because you're out of cardio energy, right? So they all kind of tie into each other. They all work hand in hand. It's the same way it does in Monster Hunter. And this is just how I look at these things every day. And again, the folks who know me, I can play Monster Hunter every fucking day for a very long time. So just being able to apply my health to that is just like, in my brain, is just like a cheat code. It's like, oh, I'm just playing Monster Hunter every day. It's like, oh, today I'm doing shoulders. Oh, today's a Volcana hunt. Sick. What am I eating today? I don't know. I'm gonna eat some chicken and some broccoli and a wrap. Okay, so I'm gonna get my attack. I'm gonna get some weakness exploit. I have some bread. And the thing is, this stuff is in Monster Hunter too, right? You eat before every hunt, which is giving you stats. It's in the game already. You eat before every hunt, it gives you extra attack, gives you extra defense. That stuff is like, it's like, oh yeah, that stuff is kind of somewhat based on real life or whatever. So it's kind of just, that's just how I apply it. All right, I'm gonna go in here and get some pickles and then I'll come back out. We'll talk about sleep, recovery. That's just as important. All right, pickles secured. Back. Uh, so we're just talking about training, right? Just kind of how so many comparisons between Monster Hunter and just working out and fitness and all that stuff really applies. So I was talking about how you eat in the game to get to help fuel you for the hunt. It's the same thing, right? It comes from the same idea. Um, and so often we look at stuff and say, "Oh, it's just a game," and most of the time it is just a game. But sometimes there's that stuff comes from somewhere in real life. Like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So, but yeah, they all fuel each other, and training is, that's the fun part. But there are days like it was like for me yesterday. I did not feel like working out. Yesterday was a fucking, I don't know, it was a fucking Oregon hunt, man. I usually like back, but yesterday I was just not feeling it. Yesterday was looking like an Oregon hunt. I was like, man. But I needed that ruby. I had to make that shield deco. I had to get it done. So it might not have been the prettiest of hunts. I don't think a pretty Oregon hunt exists. But I did get it done. And by the time I finished it, it was like, that was fun. I had more fun doing this than as if I didn't, you know. I'm still playing the game. So that's just kind of how I look at that with the training, and it's just kind of my comparison on that. And then the last one, which is often forgotten about. Oh man, I'm sweating like crazy. It's not even that hot out. I think it's just this bag. But the one that is often forgot about and not thought about when it comes to, you know, your health and fitness and all that stuff is sleep. No, nobody wants to hear that one. Nobody wants to hear I gotta go to bed. I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay up and be a degenerate and then go to work out for 30 minutes of sleep. It's not going to work, man. It's not going to work. Same thing in Monster Hunter. You go through that whole game, you never save, you slip up one day, it's over. And it's, you know, that simile isn't exactly one-to-one, right? It's not like you slip up on sleeping one time and you're done. But over again, not over a long period of time, right? I guess it kind of does still apply, right? You forget to save after one hunt. It's not that big a deal, right? You missed a couple materials. Your game crashed. You missed one hunt. Slip up on sleeping one day. It's not that bad. But you keep going over time. You never save or back up your save even. Months and months and months. I guess this is where a comparison kind of differs. It's kind of an extended thing on your health, right? You're not going to immediately see that, oh shit, I haven't slept. But over time, you're gonna feel like shit. You know, both mental, physical. You're not gonna progress the way you should. You know, your body recovers during sleep. I mean, that's literally what sleep is. You're recovering. So when you're working out, you're breaking those muscles down. Telling your body like, hey, wait, hey, you got a reason to get stronger. It's because I'm trying to push this 120. You got to make me stronger, because if that 120 comes back, I got to be able to push it again with ease, right? So when you're lifting, that's what's happening. Your body's like, oh fuck, shit's heavy. I can't deal with this. So it starts to, break those fibers down, and then you rest. That's why you don't, when you're locked in on the workout splits and stuff, that's why you usually don't do the same body group the next day, because you need that time for recovery. A lot of that recovery happens when you're sleeping. You got to go to sleep. Got to sleep. Got to get the sleep in, at least on a consistent basis, because that's just going to help you in the long run with everything else, right? You're knocking you got your armor set, you got all your decos in, you're eating right. You go on your hunt, you crush it, you get your materials to get more, to make a better armor set, to fight a better monster, to crush it. You do that for a week, and then you just are not saving ever. Your game crashes. All right, wait, there you go. Wasted. You just wasted that whole week because you've been sleeping like shit every day, You get 2 hours of sleep every day because busy gaming. busy gaming. So you got to get to sleep. And I think those are really the four main ones, right? You know, I think your cardio. Honestly, I look at cardio and nutrition kind of a tie. They're all really just as important, though. It's kind of hard to rank them because they're all really important. You're not going to build muscle if you don't train, right? Uh, you're not going to maintain whatever you're working with if you don't eat right. Uh, doing cardio is just going to help all those systems run better together. Sleep is again just going to help all those systems run better together. So it's hard to really rank them, but your cardio, your gathering, your eating, your diet, your gear, your hunts, your weight training, saving, sleep. They're all important. You need all of them. When you play the game, you do all of them. At some point, you should be doing all of them, right? And it's the same thing. And that's just how I look at it. That's how I looked at it. That's how I still look at it. That's just how I just apply it. And then I guess the overarching thing across all of that is consistency, right? You got to just do it a long period of time. And again, same thing with Monster Hunter. You play the game 2 days, you're not going to be a master. You're not going to have a bunch of gear. You're not going to be hunting stuff like you've hunted it a million times. It takes time. Just putting in hours. And again, putting in dedicated hours, right? Like I was saying earlier, there's always people who just boot up the game and just do a hunt and that's it, right? And that's fine. You can totally do that and enjoy that if that's what your goal is, right? So it's like whatever your goal is, you want to max out everything, fill that, get all those achievements, get every armor piece, get every weapon, get every deco, master every hunt. You got to learn and do all those other things. But there's still a base level of stuff you got to do. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I think. Yeah, being consistent. That's, again, what I was talking about in the last one. I mean, it was two videos ago at this point. But that's kind of the circle around all the four pillars, right? I guess, or the arena of the four pillars, right? You got to stay consistent on all of those things. If you're not consistent on them, none of them matter. You can't just do one hunt and then expect to just have every weapon, right? Like that doesn't. It's not how it works. Unless you're cheating, that's a whole other thing. um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's kind of the four pillars for me. That's really how Monster Hunter got me shredded. I just literally just applied Monster Hunter to my health, and it just worked for me. I was able to just put those things into perspective and look at them like I'm playing Monster Hunter every day. I mean, Lord knows I wish I was actually playing Monster Hunter every day, but there's not shit for me to do. Well, there kind of is in Rise, but I don't really feel like doing it. There's not shit for me to do in World of Iceborne. That's why we're waiting for Wilds. That's going to be a fun time. Applying real life Monster Hunter and then Monster Hunter. It's going to be fun. So, just like I said, I mean, I'll be back again hopefully next week, but I will be seeing y'all in Wilds. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, whichever way you consumed this content. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.